Hey there, folks. Elite Legionarii here, and today I have one of the best battles I have ever seen on Rome Total War 31k. This battle was awesome. It was spectacular. You may notice by the thumbnail that this battle is going to be dedicating our one and only Kleomenis to the Greek clan. Kleo, you're a freaking badass, as is the title suggests. This battle is Kleo at his absolute best. Um, I'm just gonna stop talking about it and just upload it because it will get into it because it is just freaking awesome what he does in this battle. And Cleo's a madman in this freaking awesome. Um, this is a battle that is done on Game Ranger, which means I'm on Game Ranger officially now. Once again, courtesy of Kleo, which is awesome. Huge thanks to Kleo because I had quite a few problems with getting Game Ranger set up. As it turned out, my problem was the compatibility mode for Rome Total War was not set so that I could play Rome Total War. Like, I could on Steam, but I couldn't with like the non-Steam version. So I couldn't get Rome Total War to work properly on Game Ranger. It would get into the game, but when I went to actually play, it kept crashing. So I couldn't join the chaps on Game Ranger, and I was thoroughly disappointed because I thought I wasn't going to have any opportunity to play any games on Game Ranger because Steam is just really quite shit now to play on because it just you do notice a noticeable difference in your performance of your men on the Game Ranger one. I haven't played a lot yet, but I played a couple of games with Kleo and Mo and Hades and stuff, and I really noticed an improvement on how quickly units react. And I'm really glad Kleo was able to help me get it set up and be able to work out what the issue was for me, because I would hate to have missed out on that much better gameplay. Most people are going over to Game Ranger anyway. But enough of that crap, technical crap. Let's have a look at what Kleo's doing here. Kleo is playing as the Romans. What are you on, Kleo? You don't play as the Romans, you play as Macedon. That is your faction. You sometimes play as the Greeks, but you don't play as the Romans, but apparently you are today. So yes, Kleo is going to be playing with the Romans, and I have heard people say Kleo is crap with the Romans. Well, after today, they are going to have to eat their words because Kleo is certainly not crap with the Romans. So he is playing a 14-6 build with the Spqr, and his opponents are this fellow here of the IoW clan, which, as I've learned out, is Spider Pig's clan. I didn't know that, but apparently it is. He's playing as Egypt. This guy's name is SP. I don't particularly know. I mean, there are a few people here I don't know. They must just be Game Ranger players. I will get to know them, though, I assume, seeing as I'm going to be playing Game Ranger myself. We have Gimli here. Now, this name is familiar to me, but I can't recall from where, but the name Gimli is familiar to me. So if someone knows who he is, leave a little message in the description or the comment section, because I would actually like to know. I'm kind of curious. Just the name's familiar, but I can't recall from where. He's playing as the Julii Romans, and he looks like he's got a 14-6 build. I actually said that Kleo had a 14-6 build. That is not true. Kleo, in fact, has a 13-6 and then 1 legionary first, which is his general. Which in previous videos you've probably heard me say more than once in previous videos that this is not a good idea, but Kleo instructed me today that it's not necessarily a bad idea, simply because I was of the opinion that the legionary first cohort gave you the morale boost and then the general gave you the morale boost, which they do, but I thought if both units were the same, that you don't actually, you only get one of the bonuses, you don't get both. But according to Kleo, you do. So this legionary first cohort provides Kleo with not only the buff of a legionary first cohort, but also the buff of a general. So I think what Kleo was gunning for in this battle was having an extremely high morale army with this unit never getting in combat, basically. So it could provide your army with a really high morale standard from this one unit. Let me just pause it. Or if you lose this unit, you guys are going to take a massive morale penalty and you're going to be screwed. Which is possibly what Kleo was experimenting with. He was telling me he was experimenting. So I learned something today, I've been playing Rome Total War for a while and I didn't know that. So there you go. You can always learn something new. I didn't outline the Egyptian army, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 chariots and 14 archers, I think. Actually, no, it might be 10 archers. They're just really well upgraded. Not sure anyway. And then, of course, we've got Gimli, which is 14-6. And then the last player on this team is Hannibal Barker. Hanny's got, let's see, 6 Praetorian Cav and 14 Urbans, I think. Yep. Then the Scipii, the other team here, the Scipii, we've got Imperator. Now, I know Imperator has been really wanting me to get Game Ranger, so he will be pleased that I do have Game Ranger now. So this is his army at a grand total of 14-6, I believe, the Scipii Romans. And then we have the Brutii Romans under Altaf Bai. I'm like Biscuits, I can't actually pronounce it. Actually, no, I'm not as bad as Biscuits. He can't pronounce anything. No offense, Biscuits, if you watch us. I'm just kidding, man. Okay, no, I'm not really. You really can't pronounce a lot of names, but it's always a good source of amusement. Let me just have another go. Altaf Bai. Bahai. There. He's playing as a Brutii anyway. Interesting build. According to Kleo, was a COH member. I don't know which one though. He's got 6 cav, an interesting formation, 1 legionary first, and the rest are Urbans. And which one's his general? I'm not seeing his general there. Oh, there he is on the side. That's an interesting place with the general. And then we have Cyka2. This guy, I'm not actually sure on either, but he's got 14-6 by the looks of things. Seems to know a formation of a 31k game, so he's probably got prior experience. And then on the flank here we have Hannibal of the King's Clan, and he's got 14-6 as well. So, let us begin. So, in this battle, Kleo is going to do a lot of manoeuvring at the start of this battle, and I think what he's going for here is to assist his Egyptian ally. He's going to try and shift a flank here. Now, Kleo uses the Romans in a very interesting way, and I rather like Kleo's method. He basically just spams the Testudo, and those of you actually quite familiar with Rome, the Testudo really is extraordinarily powerful, and as a pike player, a man of the pikes who basically lives off his pikes, being a Greek clan member, Kleo knows how annoying the Testudo can be when you are playing as Macedon or the Greeks or basically any pike faction. So when he gets the Romans going, which he doesn't do all that frequently, he really spams the crap out of the Testudo, and you're going to see him do this here, and he does it to great effect. Sorry there guys, I just noticed there was a bit of jittering going on screen, so I just lowered some graphical settings. I haven't got my Steam settings exactly, I mean my Game Ranger settings for this, the same as my Steam ones basically, so that's what I was just doing there briefly. Anyway, as you can see here, the Egyptian player has moved with Kleo, and he's trying to get some flanking shots in on Hannibal. Now you see Kleo's been clever here as he's gunning for this flanking action here because he's trying to turn Hannibal. And Hannibal, if I were Hannibal, to be honest, I would pull back from this, or I'd really get the hammer on. But it would be risky to get the hammer on here, so I just pull back, because even though he'd take shots in the flank anyway, because he's going to either have to be completely outflanked by Kleo, or he's just going to have to take a whole lot of shots in the flank. So pulling back and just reconsolidating there and trying to wait for a better opportunity, I think would have been a better move. But as you can see here anyway, Kleo's going to push up here. He's going to really keep flanking here. As you can see, Hannibal's going to unload some Pila here, and Kleo is going to do his little Testudo trick now. We're going to get ourselves into Testudo, the Kleo style, and he's going to block off here, these guys. And if we look from this angle, we've got some pretty good angles now for the Egyptian player. Kleo's not quite gone as far as he needs to get that completed, but Kleo has to be careful, because as you look, his flank is pretty heavily exposed here, but he's in Testudo, so he should be alright. But he is pretty heavily exposed. As you can see, the Seeker guy here, as well as Hannibal, want to try and put some flank on, so Kleo's got to actively watch this, and the Egyptian player's got to keep these chariots nearby just to keep an eye on that. If we look on the other side of the battle, nothing too much just yet. But Kleo's out for blood in this battle. He really is. He really wants to get out there and get really dangerous. So as you can see, Hannibal is now really going to push in on here on Kleo, but these Testudos are going to hold up for a while, and Kleo will probably use his back units perhaps to a certain extent to get Pila off, but he's mostly holding Testudo. As you can see, he he recognises there is a danger to his flank, so he's turned several of his units away just to help, toss these units in and back up there, because he's got a pretty overwhelming number of cavalry on him there. So these guys are, I think, making a good move to try and get rid of Kleo while he's in this position, because he is somewhat isolated from any support, especially infantry support. The Egyptian player does give him good support in terms of archer fire, but we can see an enormous cavalry assault coming on Kleo, but he holds. I was like watching this, I was thinking, oh no, man, Kleo, you are so screwed. You get attacked by like 4 groups of cavalry here. But Kleo's men do hold, because he's in Testudo, and he's going to get a nice counter cavalry charge in here. Very good counter charge, as you can see. He gets several very large routes on the Brutii and the Scipii, and the chariots nearby are helping scare effect. Now, I just want to pause again. There is quite a bit of lag here, so my settings are not probably quite as good as they would be on Steam, so I have to work with that a bit. But if we look here, I think the Egyptian player is missing an opportunity here, in that Kleo has actually completely turned the flank of Hannibal Barca, so he could be putting fire arrows down into this flank, or regular shots. Imperator has moved, Cyka and Imperator have moved troops over here, and they're taking fire arrows, and it looks like Hannibal and Gimli are backing in that area. But over here we see a fantastic counter cavalry charge here by Kleo. I mean, you take into account their entire team of cavalry pretty much, except for Imperator. So it's 3 groups of cavalry. The Brutii cavalry, you had King-Annibal's cavalry, and you had who else was there? Who's the other player? You had the Brutii, you had the Scipii, and somebody else's. I suddenly lost track of this. Charging there. He had about 3 sets of cavalry anyway. But with the help of the Egyptians from SP here, we can see Kleo has managed to get a mass rout against these guys. So it's a really nice start. Good work by Egypt. Egypt has worked really, really well in this fight. But Kleo set the motion up to get that flank turned, which is what he needed, and it's worked out well. And Kleo's infantry has held in there exceptionally well. I do apologise for that lag. I guess it's just what's happening at the moment. But as you can see, look, if we look here, this guy here, Cyka, is really out of formation. So Kleo, he sees his KO opportunity. He's going to go in here, and Hannibal Barca actually backed him pretty good there. And because there's already a chain route going here, the Egyptian chariots are here. They're going to possibly be able to initiate a secondary chain route. So Kleo immediately saw a golden opportunity there, and he went in again. And he's really, really pressuring these guys here. So Cyka's army routes as well. Now, some of the stuff's going to regroup, but it's already routed once. This is a fantastic start for Kleo and the Egyptians. And we'll just call them Team Kleo, man, because Team Kleo's awesome. And anyway, I can't say I'm not in this battle. I wish I was, though. So yeah, anyway, the lines are going to stabilise. And this is the interesting thing. Like, even though this has gone really good for Kleo and his team, these guys probably might marginally, actually probably not anymore, but they still would have had the infantry advantage there, because Egypt having none. But now there's a bit of an opportunity for Egypt to start flanking around and getting flank shots, and some of the other players to work to try and turn things. But as you can see, they caused a couple of nice routes there, and that's really substantial. Here we can see that Gimli's made some charges in here, but this isn't a great charge because Imperator's had time to stabilise, so he needs to pull back from that. But if we take a look at Kleo's forces here, we look here, his guys took very little damage. That's the power of Testudo if you use it right, and as far as I'm concerned, Kleo tends to be the best player I've seen use Testudo consistently with Rome. There are people out there who simply say that Kleo is not a good user of Rome because he plays too much pikes, but let me tell you, Rome is so much easier to use than the pike factions. So Kleo's got real patience and talent that he's had to learn from using the pikes. So when he actually takes on Rome, he's bloody good with them. And you're seeing it here. He's using his. It's the way he uses the Testudo. He uses it. It's an aggressive, it's a defensive aggressive push. He gets up in your face with the Testudo, but he doesn't really Like you don't really know how to deal with the Testator, but he keeps shoving it in your face and attacking you with it, and it's a pain in the ass to fight him when he does this. I've had to face Kleo doing this, and it is extremely annoying. And Kleo's very good at annoying you in a battle when he does this, and he does it so well. And he's set up a great flanking action there, and the Egyptian player has been spot on so far. Apart from a couple of missed opportunities to hit some flank, he's been spot on, and he hasn't overcommitted his chariots either. Like he could have committed his chariots completely to that, probably still would have got the master out, but lost all his chariots in the process. He isn't overcommitted, so this is good work by the Egyptian player here, and he's backing Kleo really well. And now they've got sort of that impetus to start using these archers to get round to the flanks. If we look on the other side here, it looks like Hannibal Barker is pushed up here, and he's doing a nice job. This is a good cavalry charge. Look at this. Hannibal's going to charge up the flank here, and Kleo's going to charge the front. These two are working well with their cavalry in this battle. That is a nice cavalry charge. Good work by both of them there. They get several of these guys routing, and then we see Gimli backs it up. So the work by these guys' cavalry is extremely good. Very slow reaction time here by the Brutii and these guys over here, and there's time for these guys to pull out and counter. So when these guys are in, these guys are out. When these guys pull out, these guys come in. This is really, really good timing. So we're going to see another mass rout coming on in over here. Kleo chucks some infantry forward here in the middle. He's going to keep the Scipii occupied, and they're going to keep using this cavalry here. This is really good cavalry. This is controlled chaos here, man. This battle is chaos, but they are in control of it. And we can see here Gimli's making a flanking move. Again, this is putting the outflanking penalty on the Brutii here, which is further making their morale lower, making it that much harder. And clever use by the chariots here. These chariots are close enough to scare their opponents, in addition to fire arrows coming in, so there's a lot of morale penalties happening here. And as you can see, Kleo sends his cavalry in again. And another nice move by Hannibal. He's gone behind. This is good. These guys are going to counter, but Hannibal's going to hit the back now. This is good stuff. And then there's still room for Gimli to counter as well. So this cavalry placement is really, really good. And there's another mass rout. These guys are in chaos now. They're just not getting anywhere. And Kleo's leading the cav charge through, and I mean the cavalry from these guys is just so well placed, and the chariots are always there, scaring the crap out of their opponents. And now they're just going to put that gas on. They're going to put overwhelming power down, overwhelming number, fire arrows, chariots, and this is just a huge chain rout. This is really, really well executed.
Now he flees the field like a coward.
I think it was a very chaotic battle, but the team took the initiative and they controlled the chaos all the way to the end here. And the cavalry work was brilliant. I thought the Egyptian players' work was brilliant. Kleo was just doing his thing in here, and he was just pushing with Rome, pushing with his cav, and his two allies backed him extremely well. And we've got like 3 chain routes in a row in this battle. It was complete destruction, total dominance by Team Kleo. Kleo's cav are still rolling out there, still dishing out the punishment. The chariots from Egypt are helping, and this is a complete slaughter of the Scipii and Brutii forces, and Scipii and Brutii. Absolute destruction. It was just absolute domination. I think Kleo was very dominant with his positioning here. The Egyptian backed him so well, and the cavalry charges at the second half of this game were perfect. They're just perfect. They were like from multiple angles, and they were simultaneously charging so that one would come in, one would pull out, one would come in, and it was constant.
The enemy are destroyed. Your victory is complete.
So that's perfect attitude by the Roman player there. And look at Kleo's kills. Nearly 3,000 freaking kills, you badass Kleo. Kleo just went into this battle and he was just like, nom 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 nom, I'm going to gobble up everyone on the battlefield, because it's pretty much what he did. Nearly 3k kills. And usually battles where people are exceeding like 2, 3, up, sort of 2,000, 2,300, anything more like that. If you're really exceeding that, usually they're battles where it's sort of very one-sided, or the sort of like bad play by the enemies, but these guys played pretty normally, and Kleo still just completely ripped up the battlefield. That's insane, like 3,000 just about. Look at this cav. Look at it, 346, 326, 361, 260, 198, and 272. These cav freaking owned, but his infantry sure as well did quite a bit of work as well. And the good thing here is we can actually have a look at Hannibal as well. his cav actually did quite well as well. He got his cavalry angles very good. Like he really complemented Kleo's angles on this one. Very impressive. I think that's some of the best work I've actually seen Hannibal do with his cavalry in a battle before. Really good angles he got on this one. And I enjoyed it. I watching those angles, those cavalry angles to me it was those cavalry attacks in the secondary part that really sold it. And they just dominated from that position. It really was. I think the positioning Kleo made was great, and Egypt was really good. Like he's only got 890 kills, but I reckon Egypt was really solid in this fight. He used the Egyptian army well. He had the chariots there. He didn't overcommit them. That's something I often make the mistake of doing when I use chariots for Egypt, or when I use Egypt, overcommitting my chariots too soon, and they get killed before they can do enough. This guy didn't do that. He had them around. He backed his allies, but he let the cav do the action, had the chariots there to the scare effect and to back up. Good work by him, and he's taken like bugger all losses. He's taken like 110 losses, 115 losses. He's taken absolutely bugger all losses, and he's got 890 kills. I think Egypt hasn't got a lot of kills there, but he played a crucial role. Again, like Gimli, he's hardly taken any losses, but he backed well with Cav. But I think Kleo obviously was the star player. He did so well in this battle, pushing forward like that with his Testudos, and really making great use of manoeuvre and drawing his opponents into bad engagements. But good cavalry support from Hannibal Barca. These guys got pretty heavily beaten and cleaned up there. So I think this was an awesome battle. One of the best I've ever seen, and congratulations to Kleo. I'm sorry for any of those people out there who, and I've heard this several times before, Kleo being bad with Rome, I think you're full of crap. No offense. He was great in this battle, and I've seen him use them before, and he is good with them, and it's understandable, because when you use pike factions all the time, like Kleo, pikes are a lot harder, and Kleo tends to use Macedon more than any other faction, and Macedon's certainly got its strengths, but it's a tough faction to use, especially when facing Rome. And Kleo does a regular job of it, and does it very well. So when he actually jumps into the Romans, all the versatility that Rome brings, he is actually very good with them. So just because the Greek clan doesn't use the Roman factions very much, don't mean they're not good with them, because they are. But anyway, guys, I've gone on long enough here. I really enjoyed this one. Kleo was a complete badass in this battle, but great backing out there by Hannibal's cav and the Egyptian and Gimli's cav units as well. It was a fantastic battle. Great game to everybody. Thanks for sending it in, Kleo, and awesome thanks for the help with GR. I am officially on GR now, so I shall hopefully get to know some of these guys on GR and have some nice battles to bring you from GR. So look forward to more 3v3s and hopefully 4v4s, because apparently 4v4s are a lot more reliable on GR, and I'm looking forward to bringing more of those. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments. It's an awesome battle. And give a shout out to Kleo, because he's awesome. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you soon next time.